Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'd like to welcome our dear brothers to the Islamic Education Foundation in Al-Lami branch. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you, grant you peace and tranquility, and to allow us to seek knowledge with pure intentions, inshallah. This is actually an honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed us to gather in this evening. We ask Allah to make it a blessed evening for the sake of gaining more Islamic knowledge. With one of the most eloquent teachers in Jeddah, may Allah bless him and preserve him, Sheikh Assim Hakeem. And this talk, inshallah, he will be discussing the unprescribed holidays in Islam, because we noticed that this month, subhanallah, there are 3 different holidays that are unprescribed in Islam, and you probably all know which ones I'm talking about. And if you don't, inshallah, you'll hear the lecture. So people need to be aware of the reality of what is permissible and what is impermissible. And when we have sheikhs and teachers and instructors guiding us, mentoring us, teaching us with their different skills and abilities, that way we will be able to share this knowledge, inshallah, to the utmost bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Once again, jazakumullahu khairan for attending, wa barakallahu feekum, and I will pass the line to Sheikh Assim al-Hakeem.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. The season is known as the holiday seasons nowadays, and they have like Black Fridays and discount season for people to go and buy presents, and everybody's happy. So many times I travel during these days abroad, and when I don't have anything, I scroll down the news channels and I see the countdown for the New Year's, and everybody's happy in Tokyo and Sydney and Paris and New York. And when I go to Jeddah, they don't have this. It's boring. Why is this? Everybody around the world is happy except us. This is not fair. So this is what usually goes around the minds of a lot of us. And we have to first of all set the ground rules. Before we go and have a match, we have to have ground rules. Before we have a debate, before we have any kind of discussion. The first rule is that we must know our religion, because we claim to be Muslims. As Muslims, we have to submit our will to Allah Azza wa Jal. So it's not what I like or dislike. It is what the Shara likes and dislikes. It is what Allah Azza wa Jal loves or abhors that drives me. So this is the most important ground rule that we should apply in all our affairs. Secondly, if we look at the essence of Sharia, of the Quran and Sunnah, we find that Allah Azza wa Jal orders us to choose the way other than the way of the Jews and the Christians. صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. So we ask Allah to guide us to the straight path other than the path of the Jews and the Christians, as interpreted by the Prophet al-Maghdubi alayhim وَالضَّالِّينَ are the Jews and the Christians. And if you look into the Sunnah, you will find this a lot. And we don't have time to discuss this, but as bullet points, the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wassalam, صلوا في نعالكم فإن اليهود لا يصلون في نعالهم. Pray in your sandals, because the Jews do not pray in their sandals. This, of course, I don't have to explain this and every single thing. And I don't expect you in the Isha time to go with your shoes to Lami Mosque in the first row behind the Imam and having your shoes on. People will beat the heck out of you. This is not advisable. So, I'm doing the Sunnah. Ya akhi, the Sunnah has to be implemented with wisdom. You don't say, I want to do the Sunnah and go against the norm, go against what the people think is acceptable. Yes, if you're in an airport, if you're in a park, you don't have to take your shoes off. Show the people that you're praying with your shoes on. But when there are carpets and you're not sure of the purity and the cleanliness of your shoes, no, refrain from that. The Prophet goes on to say, in so many hadiths, he always begin his address by saying, go against the Jews, the Christians, and the fire worshippers. As if this is part of the essence of our religion, to go against their way. So he says, أعفوا اللحى, أرفوا اللحى, أكرموا اللحى, أسبلوا اللحى, وفروا أو أوفروا اللحى. All of this is to grow your beard. Now this is the instruction of the Prophet ﷺ. He says that also to hasten in breaking our fast and delay and postpone our pre-dawn meal, because this is against the people of the book who do the other way around. The Prophet ordered us ﷺ not to imitate the kuffar in the way they dress, nor in their customs. In the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, he said, the Prophet ﷺ, وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. Whoever imitates a people, he is one of them. He is part of them. Now, this ground rule is extremely important to know and learn, but this has a different venue for it, because it will take us away from our subject, which is the unprescribed, I forgot the name of the lecture, unprescribed or unpermissible? Unprescribed, okay, celebrations. So this will take us away from it. If you know this, then you understand why some of us may feel that this is extreme. Muslims are extreme. They don't celebrate this, they don't celebrate that, they don't have a feast on this, and they don't have a feast on that. While other countries do, while Muslim countries do, while non-Muslim countries do. Well, as I said, to be able to understand an issue, you have to have ground rules. You have to go back to the basics. The third ground rule is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that governs this issue quite well. Anas bin Malik says, may Allah be pleased with him, when the Prophet ﷺ came into Medina, he found the people of Medina celebrating 2 days. So he asked, what are these 2 days that you're celebrating? So the people said, these are 2 days of pre-Islamic era, and the people play in them. So they are jubilant, they're happy, they're joyful, and they play in these 2 occasions, 2 days. The Prophet ﷺ did not look the other way. He didn't ignore the issue. He said, no, Allah Azza wa Jal has substituted you with 2 better days, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Now, the issue of substitution means that one is gone and the other one fills in its place. So, from that day onwards, none of the companions, may Allah be pleased with them all, had ever celebrated these 2 days. And we don't even know their names or their nature, to that extent that it is forgotten. Some scholars say that one of these days was the Nayruz, the celebration of the Persians, the fire worshippers. That continues till today in Kurdistan, in Persia, and in other places, but Allah knows best. Now, when we talk about celebrations, we are referring usually to Eid. And what is the Arabic linguistic meaning of Eid? Eid is something that comes back often, whether monthly or annually. So it always ya'ud. It comes back again and again. And it can refer to time, and it can also refer to location. As for time, this is logical. So when we have a date that people celebrate every year, this is Eid, because it comes every single year on the same date. As for the location, this might be strange to some, but this is based on the Sunnah and the verdicts of the scholars. May Allah have mercy on them all. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, and the hadith is in Sahih Imam Muslim, when a companion of his said, "O Prophet of Allah, I vowed to slaughter a camel in Buwana." Buwana is a village close to Medina. I think it's between Medina and Yambur. So the Prophet ﷺ asked him two questions. Now, the man wanted to sacrifice for the sake of Allah a camel. Is there anything wrong with that? Nothing. He asked him two questions. He said, one, is there any idol that is worshipped other than Allah in that location? The man said, no. So the Prophet asked him a second question. Is there any Eid for the mushriks? The man did not specify a time, a frame. He only asked to slaughter in a place, which means that the Prophet is referring to the location. Is it often visited by the mushrikeen? Then it becomes Eid, regardless of the time, of the season, of the month. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ said in an authentic hadith, you all know, لا تتخذوا قبري إيش؟ عيدا. Do not take my qabr, my grave, as Eid. What do you mean, O Prophet of Allah, Eid? Yani do not often visit it. Like some people come to Medina 5 times a day, they go to pray in the masjid, they go and visit the qabr. What are you doing? I'm paying respect, I'm offering salutation. This is not permissible. The permissible thing for a visitor to Medina is to visit the grave at the first instance he sets foot in the haram. Like Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, used to do. Whenever he comes back from travel, he begins by praying 2 rak'ahs in the masjid, goes to the grave, gives salutation to the Prophet ﷺ, and gives salam to Abu Bakr and to his father, and that's it. Never goes back to the grave again. This is a sunnah. Now, having said that, the Prophet ﷺ told us that there are 2 days of Eid in Islam. And scholars say that these 2 days are Al-Fitr and Al-Hajj and whatever falls under it. What do you mean by whatever falls under it? The Prophet said in another hadith, and hadith do not clash, do not conflict. They all come from the same source, from Allah Azza wa Jal and from the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet said, يوم عرفة ويوم الأضحى وأيام التشريق أيام عيد. So the day of Arafah, the 9th, the day of Eid, the 10th, the 3 days of Tashriq, 11th, 12th, and the 13th, are all days of Eid. So now we know that this falls under the same category. And there is a weekly Eid, which is acknowledged by the Quran itself. We have a whole chapter by its name, Yawm al-Jumu'ah. This is the day that the Jews were misguided, were sent astray, and they chose Saturdays, and the Christians were also set astray and they chose Sunday, and the Muslims were guided to it. Falhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So this is in a nutshell the meaning of Eid linguistically. And technically it is what for all or most nations of the world, Muslims and non-Muslims, Eid is something that is occasionally celebrated. Whether it's a happy occasion or it's a sad occasion. So we have the fall of nations, they commemorate that day. And we have the rising of a nation or the sitting on the throne, or whatever, that day, the day of independence, they always commemorate that day and throw a party, do something, celebrate it. Now, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is part of the ground rules, also warned us when he said, لَتَتَّبِعَنَّ سَنَنَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, that you shall follow the ways of the nations before you. Even if they were to enter a lizard's hole, you will follow them. شِبْرًا بِشِبْرٍ وَذِرَاعًا بِذِرَاعٍ. So this hand span or an arm span, whatever they call it, you shall do that. So the companion said, who are you referring to, O Prophet of Allah? The Jews and the Christians? And the Prophet said, who else? Definitely, this is what I'm referring to. Now, compare this hadith to our times nowadays. Is there any resemblance? Are we following the kuffar in every single thing they do? Definitely yes. We're following them in our customs. We're following them even in their religions in some cases. And we're following them in everything. We send our children from a very young age to wear their clothes, to speak their language, and to act like them. Our best time is spent in watching a movie or going to the theater, as they say, or listening to the music, because this is civilization. This is how we feel, because we're weak, we're humiliated, we are underneath the surface. People cannot see us anymore unless we try to be like them, act like them. Then we get this so-called charismatic honor, fake honor, when we look like them or talk like them. So let us go now to look into their festivals in Islam. After setting these ground rules, it's obvious that Islam has only 3 celebrations or 3 Eids. Eid al-Fitr after Ramadan, Eid al-Adha, which is on the 10th of the last lunar month of the Islamic calendar, Shahr al-Hijjah, and a weekly Eid, which is Friday, the day of Friday. Now, we find people saying that there is no restriction in celebrating other Eids. Where did you bring the evidence from? He said, we look at the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, Allah had substituted you. Now, after he said that, did the Prophet ﷺ or his companions or the tabi'een or anyone else celebrated any other than these 2 days on a yearly basis? The answer is no. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, talking about Ibadur Rahman, the servants of Ar-Rahman, of Allah Azza wa Jal, and they are those who do not testify to falsehood, and when they pass near ill speech, they pass with dignity. Now, Mujahid, Al-Rabi' ibn Anas, Muhammad ibn Sirin, Ikrimah, all the great Salaf of the Tabi'een and of those who interpreted the Quran said that the zur, the falsehood that they do not testify, is attending the festivals of the disbelievers. And these festivals are part of the essence of the deen. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, to each of you we prescribed a law and a method. The Jews have their laws and methods, the Christians have laws and methods, and so do the Muslims, and they differ. They cannot be intermingled or melted in a melting pot. They have to have their own identity. And this is what Islam preserves. No matter where you look, if I see any of you in Siberia or in the jungles of Africa, Sheikh, pick a better place, in Paris, in Rome, If I see you, I immediately recognize you as a Muslim. Why? Because your thobe is above the ankles, you are growing your beard, and you look like a Muslim. You act like a Muslim. You behave like a Muslim. So our identity is unlike any other's identity. And that is why Sahih Imam Muslim, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, a great companion of the Prophet ﷺ, and the son of a great companion, may Allah be pleased with them both, came to the Prophet ﷺ once, and he was wearing two garments dyed in usfur, which is a yellowish reddish color. And it is a plant that they dye their clothes in, like saffron, but it has a distinctive reddish color to yellowish. And no Muslim wears this. This is identified as the clothes of the kuffar. Sahih Imam Muslim, the Prophet, when he saw this, he said, these are the dress code of the kuffar, do not wear them. And in another narration, the Prophet was angered by this and he said, did your mother order you to wear this? When you speak to a grown-up man and you tell him, did your mother tell you to do this? What does this imply? You are reprimanding him. So Abdullah ibn Amr, may Allah be pleased with him, recognized his fault. And he said, O Prophet of Allah, shall I wash them? These are new clothes. If I wash them, the dye would go away, the color would fade away, and then I would be wearing normal clothes. This is logical. The Prophet is reprimanding him. He said, no, you should burn them. So this is a warning to the companion and to the whole ummah of Islam, not to resemble the kuffar, not to wear their clothes. That no one shares it with them except them. I don't want people now posting questions and see, mashallah, the brothers are writing and what's the ruling on wearing trousers and t-shirts? Sheikh, shall I take it off? No, don't be, not here. Take it off elsewhere. What should I do? I wear suits, I do this. No problem. The majority of Muslims wear trousers and shirts and suits. There's no problem in that. What the problem is in resembling what only the kafir wears. So if a Muslim comes to me, for example, wearing a tuxedo, Muslims don't wear tuxedos. I go to Iraq, I go to Syria, I go to Egypt, I go to Jordan. This is not their normal way of wearing. No, this is kafir's way. Or a white tie bow or whatever they call it for certain kind of if I go and one of the sisters comes back, mashallah, and she wears a kimono. Kimono is worn by the non-Muslims in Japan. And this is the dress code of them. If I see one, I know that this is a non-Muslim. Someone wears a Texan hat. This is only for the kafir. Unlike the normal cap that the youngsters wear or the soldiers wear, this is shared. So there is a thin line that we have to be careful when we look at it. And the issue of celebrating Eid or having fun in the day of Eid, this is in our religion, but only on the Muslims' Eid. Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, once entered the home of the Prophet ﷺ only to find a young girl playing with the duf, two girls playing with the duf and singing. So the Prophet ﷺ was there listening. Abu Bakr tried to shut them up. And the Prophet said, "Oh Abu Bakr, leave them. Every nation has a Eid, and this is our Eid. So this is permissible to listen to the duf for the Muslims in the season of Eid, on the day of Eid. This is part of our religion." Now, having set these ground rules, that we know that we have only 2 Eids every year and 1 Eid every week, what about the Eids we see nowadays? Scholars say that Eids are divided into 2 types: religious and worldly. So when you come to talk about religious festivals, meaning that festivals that are related to your religion, we find that there are halal Eids, such as Eid al-Fitr, the 5 days of Eid al-Hajj, Arafah, day of Adha, and the 3 days of Tashriq, and the day of Friday. And there are Eids related to religion, Islamic religion, but they are not permissible to us. Or in a sense, you can say that they go totally against Islam. So we have Islamic Eids, religious. We have non-Islamic Eids that are not religious, not Islamic, and go totally against Islam, such as Christmas, such as Easter. What is Easter?
Jesus Christ rose up from the dead.
Yes, they call it Eid al-Qiyamah, Eid al-Fasl. It is when they claim that Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, was resurrected after 3 days of his dying and being buried. So they claim he was crucified, he was killed, he was buried, then he was resurrected 3 days, and this is the day that they celebrate the Easter. So this is a religious festival. It is totally prohibited for Muslims. It goes against Islam to believe in them. And also the Nayruz, which is for the Persians. There are religious festivals that are fabricated, innovated, and some claim to be part of Islam, such as
Eid Milad.
Eid al-Milad of what? Of the Prophet. So Eid al-Mawlid, because Eid al-Milad in Arabic can mean my birthday and yours. So this is Eid Milad. So Mawlid is more the term used in this event. Okay, Eid al-Mawlid. What else? Shabi Barat. What is it in Arabic? Nusf Shaban? Is it? Okay, there is another Shabi, but I don't know what they call it. Rajab. Isra wal Mi'raj. What is it that? Oh, Shabi Mi'raj. Okay, then Shabi Mi'raj is the 27th of Rajab, Isra wal Mi'raj, and there's the 15th of Shaban. They call it Laylat something. I don't know. You guys have, you know what I mean. Huh? And also there is the celebration of the Hijrah, the Muslim New Year. So you find this everywhere. Happy New Year, Islamic year, ha ha ha. Happy New Year, we know it's New Year. What are you saying? No, Islamic, halal. Yeah, let's have a party. 5, 4, 3, let's kiss. What is this? It's Islamic, alhamdulillah, from hijab. All of this is nonsense. This is not part of Islam.
Jummah Mubarak.
We will come to that. Don't rush things. Give it some time. So these things, are they related in our religion? No. Tab Sheikh, they are good celebrations. What's wrong in it? Why do you make up? I've been to all Muslim countries, and they all celebrate Mawlid. Except you Wahhabis, you Salafis, you extremists in Saudi Arabia. You don't love the Prophet ﷺ. Astaghfirullah. Wallahi, this is one of the biggest problems we face. That we go against our families, we go against our communities by abiding by the Quran and Sunnah. We love the Prophet ﷺ to the extent that people make fun out of us. Look at his thawb. It is a maxi, man. Somewhere down the line it will be a miniskirt. What is this Sheikh? Look at his beard, it looks like a flying tree. Or look at his miswak, he's doing this, he's doing that. They're making fun out of us because we're abiding by the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And then they accuse us of hating the Prophet ﷺ. We're the only people who are promoting the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So let us logic what they're saying. They say that this is a good occasion. And so many of them say that this is not related to religion, so that they would not fall under innovation. Say, okay, are you rewarded or not for doing this? Definitely you're rewarded. So this is part of religion. If I drive my car, am I rewarded or not? This is not religion. If I wear my watch, if I do this or that. But if I throw a mawlid, what do you want? One of my uncles, may Allah have mercy on him, he died. long ago. And I used to ask him, Uncle, why do you go to the Mawlid? He said, this is a festival and we love our Prophet, we remember him and we do dhikr. I said, okay, why do you do it only once a year? Not throughout the whole year? Not only that, I said, why at the end of the session here in Saudi Arabia, I don't know about other countries, the Imam or Maulana says stories about the Prophet's birth, والسلام, and after he reaches the place where the Prophet was born, and he comes out of his mother's womb, everybody stands up. And they bring bottles of perfume. And they chant, Marhaban Noor Aini, welcome the light of my eyes. Marhaban Jadd al-Husayni, welcome the grandfather of al-Husayn. Who's the grandfather of Hussein? The Prophet. So they bring these perfume bottles and they start sprinkling perfume all over the place. And everybody's standing up. So I said to him, why is everybody standing up? He said, because the spirit of the Prophet came. And now the spirit of the Prophet is everywhere. In that majlis. Okay, Uncle, why do you put food and water over there? He said, this food and water is healing to all sicknesses and illnesses. Because the spirit of the Prophet gave it blessing. And I said, my uncle, after all of this, you say it's not part of religion? What happens if I do not stand up? Wallahi, I asked him this question. He said, if you don't stand up, you will be paralyzed for life. I had my second doubts, second thoughts. What is this? So you know from this that it is an innovation. Not only that. Did the Prophet ever celebrate it? No. Did his companions? No. His followers? No. Nobody celebrated the Mawlid. So you love him more than them? It's unacceptable. Is it part of the deen or not? This is the $1 million question. If they say yes, then this is a contradiction to Ayat Al-Ma'idah chapter 5, when Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum. Today I have perfected your religion and completed my favor upon you. So is the deen complete at the time of, was it complete at the time of the Prophet? If yes, then this is not part of the deen. If no, then you have a problem. They come and say, they give you allegations, they give you arguments. They say, okay, the Prophet used to fast every Monday. And he justified this by saying that this is the day I was born in. And the hadith is sahih, it's Sahih Muslim. No doubt in that. Complete the hadith. He said, it's the day I was born in, and Allah revealed to me in it. So there are two things. Revelation, being a messenger, and he was born in it. This is one point. Second point, had any of the companions who were born in Tuesday, on a Tuesday or on a Friday, ever fasted that day? Never. I was born in whatever. Is it permissible for me to fast the day and say, Alhamdulillah, like the Prophet? No, this is an innovation. Thirdly, the Prophet fasted every Monday. You love the Prophet as Islam? You fast every Monday and Thursday. But he never ever paid any importance to the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal. When is the Mawlid? 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal. And take this final piece of information. 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal, by the consensus of all Muslims of Islam, of scholars of Islam, the Prophet died on the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal. They all agree, but they differ. Was he born on the 9th? The 10th or the 12th? So when you celebrate the 12th of Rabi', you're actually celebrating his death, and this is not befitting of a real Muslim. Okay, so we spoke about the religious events, whether Islamic goes against Islam or innovated, such as the Mawlid, the Shab Barat, etc. Now, what about the worldly celebrations? There are celebrations that do not relate to a corrupt aqidah. Something that is worldly, like the National Day, for example. Like the week, we have here the week of the tree, the week of the teacher, the week of traffic. The week of traffic we all know, because we all put the seat belts and we abide by standing at the cross, the pedestrians' lines, etc. The problem is that these days, scholars differ. Some say that this is not related to religion, and it's something to commemorate something that is worldly, so it's okay. Other scholars take a little bit harder line by saying that no, this is something that is rotating, and it is a Eid. So it falls under the category of that we do not have except 2 Eids. And this is more lovable and likable to me, that we do not commemorate no National Day, no sitting on the throne, no Independence Day, no Day of the Labourers, Day of this, Day of that, Day of the Father, I think they have also. But the Father is not totally worldly festival. It's a little bit more inclined to a religious, because honoring your father, or even the Mother's Day, honoring a mother would fall under the corrupt aqidah, because it's related to a form of worship. So we have the second category, which is related to a corrupt aqidah. And we can have Mother Day as one of them, Father's Day. We can have, what else? Halloween. Valentine. When is Valentine? Soon? Is it 2 months, 14th of February. So Valentine, this is a corrupt feast. It's related to a priest who used to go against the government, disobey them, and marry the soldiers to their girlfriends. And he was executed long time ago. Now we are celebrating it, and mashallah, all the youth and the youngsters in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere, they buy everything that is red. So even those who don't drink these soft drinks, they buy Red Bull, for example, because it has the word red. And Valentine, they drink like 5-6 cans of it and they die. They buy pillows, red pillows, they buy anything. And this is from your Valentine, and they sign postcards. And what is this? وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. Whoever imitates the people, he's one of them. You have Halloween. You have, what is this? Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is not a religious festival, because it was for the first migrants, American migrants who came, and they tried to cultivate the land, and they failed a year, and 2 and 3, and the 4th or 5th year, they had their harvest, so they made this celebration, and they're doing it till today. So it's not per se a religious festival, but is it part of our culture? Is it part of our religion? Then definitely it falls under the category. And there are feasts that are not related to aqidah, not related to religion, and not related to innovated feasts, but again, they do not fall under the worldly permissible or the worldly acknowledged feast, such as birthdays. So what's the ruling on celebrating my birthday? Or celebrating anniversaries? Now, this is also becoming a norm, that people in their anniversaries give their spouses a bottle of perfume, and then they abuse them the rest of the 359 days. And this is normal. But again, in Islam, is it part of our culture? Is it part of our religion? Then, from what you have heard in a nutshell, this, yes sir?
Saint Patrick Day. Saint Patrick Day.
Saint Patrick Day. Oh, he's a saint. Yeah, if he's a saint, so whether he is Saint Valentine, Saint Patrick, Saint George, Saint whoever, it falls under their religion.
They dress green.
Whether they dress green, whether they dress in any type of clothes, again, this is not part of Islam. So we go back to the ground rules. We have to have our identity. We have to abide by our religion. Now, we do not want to be aggressive and insult people. No. And for example, yesterday I heard on NPR, one of the brothers, he's a professor of English, of Arabic in an American university. And he says, as a Muslim, every Christmas I celebrate it by fasting it. Why do you do this? I just want to show the Christians, the Americans, that we also commemorate this day and we fast it. Is this permissible? This is a bid'ah. So you are escaping one evil to another evil. This is not permissible for Muslims to do. Now, what is the ruling on congratulating them on these feasts? So can I say Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy this, Happy that? This is not permissible. And the scholars say that congratulating them is not permissible. Why? Christmas is the date, in their opinion, where the Son of God was born. تعالى الله عما يقول الظالمون علوا عظيما. They claim, God forbid, that the Son of God was born. So when you congratulate and say Merry Christmas, what are you doing?
You're accepting.
You're not accepting, you are approving it. Yes, I know, you're right, and he was born on that day. Have a blessed holidays. So this is totally prohibited in Islam. Now one would ask, Sheikh, I work in a company, and every single Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, I receive tons of mails from non-Muslim colleagues who send me greetings. Happy Eid, happy Ramadan, happy this and happy that. So what should I do? Well, on their occasions, I usually do the same. Happy New Year, happy holiday. Some of them say, I just say happy holidays. This is not permissible. Says Sheikh, Islam tells us to greet the people like they have greeted us or better. Yes, but they are greeting you on the true religion of Allah. So if they say, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, you will say, Ashhadu anna Isa ibn Allah. I bear witness that Isa is the son of God. What is this? No, they are congratulating you about your true religion, which Allah accepted. And you don't have any doubt, because if you have doubt that your religion is, they might be true, I might know, then you're not a Muslim. One of the essence of being a Muslim is to be certain, to have yaqeen of your religion. Otherwise, your shahada of la ilaha illallah is in vain. So, when they congratulate us of our feasts and Eids, this is logical. When their Eids are due, we cannot congratulate them. What would I do if someone says, Sheikh, Merry Christmas? I would not reply. And if I want to be cordial and not aggressive, I say thank you. Or smile. But no, and to you as well, and here's a bottle of rum, enjoy that. No, this is unacceptable at all. You have to have the dignity in your religion and to be proud of it. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Wallahu a'lam. ونسبة العلم إليه أسلم. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد.
We hope you all have benefited, and the floor is open for questions until Salat al-Isha. We still have some time, and even between the Adhan and Iqamah, we could remain here and answer some questions as well, inshallah, if the Sheikh would like that. So be with you. Alright? So we have a microphone here. If somebody would like to come up forward, if you're not shy. If you are shy, you can stay in your seat, just ask a question. And Sheikh Asim will be happy to answer your question, inshallah.
Sheikh, this is not pertaining to the subject. Can I ask out of the subject 2 questions?
Yes.
See, we have Azza here, Azza. After death.
Azza.
Yeah, Azza.
Yes.
What is the ruling?
The brother is asking on the ruling of what we know as Azza. Azza in Arabic means condolence. So the word is okay if someone dies and you go to their family and you give them their condolence. Ahsan Allah azakum, azam Allah ajrakum. May Allah Azza wa Jal expand his grave and fill it with paradise, fragrance from paradise, etc. All of this is permissible. The brother is not asking about this. He's asking about the ruling on gathering for the 3 days that are post the death of a person, where they have shares, like you have now, they have lights, and you have people serving coffee, tea, and some families may bring a reciter to recite the Quran. If they are a little bit cheap, they put a recorder and they play a cassette. So it depends on their social status. What's the ruling on this? The most authentic opinion is that this kind of gathering is haram. Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, may Allah be pleased with him, says that we, that is the companion of the Prophet ﷺ, used to consider gathering for mourning, gathering for condolences to the mourning of a deceased, and feeding the food part of wailing, an-niyaha. To wail for a woman, you know, when a woman is struck by the death of her husband, she would be happy. The death of loved one, a father, for example, she would start to wail and you know, tear her hair if she's not wearing a wig, and maybe tear her clothes and slam her face. All of this is wailing, haram. This is from Jahiliyyah, from pre-Islam, major sins. So Jarir Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him, says that the companions used to consider gathering for the purpose of mourning and feeding the people, which we usually, locals here, do after Isha. So the people come, you have my condolences, stay, we have food, mashallah, it is from the kitchen of so-and-so, we have big rams, and they sit and they chat and they talk about real estate and they talk about elections and they talk about, and they forgot the person who died. This is part of wailing, it's haram. So what to do? Sit in your home. If someone comes in your home, in your guest room, knock your door, yes, accept them. Not between Maghrib and Isha, throughout the whole day. Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen says, may Allah have mercy on his soul, when my father died, I left the city altogether. I went to the eastern province, so that I would avoid this habit which goes against Islam. No, I don't ask you to do this. Sit home, but don't, spend money for paying for the chairs and the lights and so on, and some of them even block the roads in front of the home. So when you're driving, you see, A'udhu billah, may Allah curse those who did this. This is part of the sunnah, not to curse, of course. The Prophet says, beware of the things that bring the two curses upon you. What are they? Those who urinate or defecate in the road of people when they pass by, or in the places of their shade. So if there's a desert and there's a tree and you want to sit under the shade and you find that people have come and answered the call of nature, what will you do? May Allah curse whoever that did this. Because he has transgressed on one of your rights. And likewise, when you block the road, you are transgressing on one of my rights. So this is the ruling on Allah Azza wa Jal.
Is it bidah?
Definitely. It wasn't done on the Prophet's time, nor the companion. Though they had the same grief, and they had the same facility to open, and the way I mentioned, which is between Maghrib and Isha, and the chairs, and the lights, and the coffee and tea, maybe now they give free drinks, I don't know. All of this is definitely a format that falls under the bid'ah.
Sir, back to the question. One of my colleagues, non-Muslim colleague, invites me for his wedding. What should be my decision regarding for that? Should I give gift or should it be accepted or what?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, attending the festivals of the kuffar, of the disbelievers, if attending a wedding in a church or there is something related to the religion in their houses or in the hotel, this is totally prohibited. And the ceremony itself is not permissible for a Muslim to attend, even if it's your close relative, not only a friend or colleague. If it is done in the church or in the public civil court or whatever, and now they're just throwing a party for that non-Muslim colleague, it is permissible to attend because this is not religious. However, there shouldn't be anything haram, which I very, very much doubt. There shouldn't be any mixing between the genders, only men. And there shouldn't be any booze, any liquor, any haram intoxicants. There shouldn't be any haram food served, pork or whatever. And this is very unlikely. What is a wedding then? This is a funeral. It's not a wedding. It has no booze, it has no partying, no music, no bachelor day. This is a funeral. So most likely it will not fall under the permissible category. But hypothetically speaking, if this is definitely no haram in it, there's no problem in going there, giving him a gift with the intention of making his heart inclined towards Islam. Yani softening his heart, this is permissible. However, we should not take them as close allies. Yani I should not hang with them 24/7, love them more than the Muslims. No, I have good relationships with non-Muslims, a lot of them. I don't call them friends, they're colleagues. I give them all the hospitality I can, I smile with them, I joke with them, but they're not my buddies. I do this so that I can call them to Islam. If I feel that they are rejecting Islam and not interested in Islam, I'll go and look for someone else so that I can utilize my time and my efforts. Allah knows.
We have one question from the female section. Sister asks, I am trying to convince somebody that birthdays are not permissible. I have explained that since it wasn't celebrated by any of these Sahaba, it has to be wrong. Yet they ask for proof from hadith or an ayah from the Quran. Please give me advice as to how to deal with this situation.
First of all, you can lead a horse to water, but you can never make it drink. Right or not? I can talk to you from here till Fajr, inshallah. But I cannot convince you because guidance is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal. He opens our hearts or seals them. It's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have done your due diligence, you have done your duty, and you called them to what you think or believe is the right thing. If they don't agree, khalas. Don't be more Roman than the Romans. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ. It is not for you to guide them, Allah says to the Prophet ﷺ. The guidance is in Allah's hands. Now, they say they want proof. Proof over what? Like when we say to someone, prove to me that praying 17 rak'ah now between adhan and iqamah is bid'ah. Prove it to me. You think that the Prophet ﷺ kept on having a logbook of everything that he will innovate and write it down? This is illogical. The Prophet ﷺ was given the concise of speech. He was so eloquent, 2 words, you can write books explaining them. He said, مَنْ أَحْدَثَ فِي أَمْرِنَا هَذَا مَا لَيْسَ مِنْهُ فَهُوَ رَدٌّ. Whoever innovates in our religion what's not part of it is rejected. So he says, okay, birthdays are not part of our religion. Ha ha ha. It's like wearing a watch, it's like wearing a pen, it's like driving a car. So why do you say that these are also not innovations? He said, yeah, good remark. Akhi, celebrations of birthdays, are they part of the way of the Prophet ﷺ? Did he do it? The companions said, no. So okay, the Prophet said, وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. Whoever imitates a people, he's part of them. So if you're not imitating the Prophet ﷺ and you're imitating the Westerners or the disbelievers or the Chinese or the Americans, then what are you doing? You are part of them. So this is a cultural thing. Maybe it's not related to religion, but it's a cultural thing. And even cultural things, we're not permitted to imitate them, as in the hadith I've mentioned earlier of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. Of the 2 garments he was wearing, the Prophet ordered him to burn it rather than to wash it. So this inshallah would answer the question if Allah were to open their hearts and guide them.
So there is a deviant sect who has a custom. They either do it regularly or occasionally. They are Shias and they wear black garments in their occasions. So is it? But now, right now, I'm wearing a black garment. So is it permissible to wear them since they are wearing those black garments?
That's a good question. The brother is asking about if there were to be a deviant sect or cult who uses or wears a certain uniform. Can I wear the same uniform if I did not have the intention to do it? we have to look and analyze. If when people look at you, we say, the ga'ish or nicest. What is nicest? You don't read my posts in Facebook, huh? You don't. What is nicest?
Non-Islamic.
Non-Islamic state of Iraq and Syria. Why do we fall in their trap and say Islamic State? الدولة الإسلامية, داعش, دولة إسلامية, Iraq والشام. This is, if I were to say I am President Obama, with a little bit difference in color. Would anybody tomorrow say, hey, President Obama, what's cooking? Nobody would say that. Why? They would say, he's a liar. We have Musaylim al-Kadhdhab, who claimed to be a prophet. Nobody call him a Nabi or the prophet. They say, Musaylim the liar. Likewise, if someone claims that they are the Islamic state of Iraq and the Levant or of Syria, why do we fall into their trap? And whenever they do a terrorist attack, they say it's the craftwork of Islamic State. No, we as Muslims, as the people of the media, as government, we should always call them nicest. So when they do a terrorist attack, who did this? The non-Islamic state. Oh, alhamdulillah, Islam has nothing to do with it. We call it in Arabic, the Ga'ish, Dawla غير Islamiyya. It's difficult. But, Akhi, this is the least you can do to defend your religion. So the brother, again, is talking about wearing the costumes. If someone looks at him and says, oh, he's wearing the same costumes of those people, I tell you, don't wear it. Because then you are imitating them. But if you wear something that everybody wears, including them, then there's nothing wrong in that, because they are the one who's imitating us, not the other way around. So I hope this answers your question.
Yes.
You spoke of the separation of the holidays into two categories, religious and non-religious.
Okay.
Religious holiday, they serve food. Is that food lawful? And on a non-religious holiday, they serve food. Is that food also lawful?
Very good question.
Sheikh, could you repeat the question for the females?
The question is, in religious and non-religious festivals, what happens if I were to be offered food from the participants? So in Adha, in Fitr, no problem, definitely. If someone gives you food, this is Islamic festivals, you definitely share it. But for example, in Christmas, in Diwali, is it? Diwali. In Nairuz, for example, the Persian, what's the ruling on accepting their gifts or giving them gifts? Now this is two separate big questions. It's an issue of dispute. The most authentic opinion is that when a non-Muslim gives me on his celebration day, on his feast, on a Christmas, on a New Year's, on a Nairuz, food, if the food is halal, meaning that it has no meat in it. Why, Sheikh, segregate between meat and non-meat? Meat, they slaughter for their festival, so this is a dead meat for me, I cannot eat that. But if they give me candy, if Diwali, I think it has no meat because they're veg. Not them personally, but they eat only, well, they can be, I don't know. Anyhow, so they give me vegetable to eat, etc. The most authentic opinion is that it's permissible for me to accept. And the evidence is Imam Ali radiallahu anhu wa an Abi Bakr wa Umar wa Uthman, may Allah be pleased with them all, was presented with faludaj, a sort of sweet dish, very beautiful, and he ate from it and said, whoa, what is this? Is it faludaj? The Persians do it on their Nairuz, on their festival. He said, okay, whenever you bring this food, get it to me, this is good. And he did not find any hesitation in eating it on their day, because this is not a celebration, I'm not celebrating, this is something that is coming to me. Now, if it is haram meat-wise, no, this is not permissible for you to eat. What about me giving them? Scholars say that giving the non-Muslims even an egg on their feast is an act of kufr, is an act of disbelief, because this is part of approving their religion. So those, I know unfortunately few here in Jeddah, in their homes, they built a Christmas tree now, and it's all lit. And I've been in the past 2 weeks to Egypt and to the UAE. And in the hotels, there's a big tree with gifts and 2 statues of Santa Claus. I didn't know which one to greet, but I had to walk in. Subhanallah, Muslim countries do this? What is this? What's remaining in our religion if we go this low? So I hope this answers your question.
One more question from the females and then we'll wrap it up. A sister asked, events like Earth Day in Kashmir, also known as Kashmir Day, celebrated in schools. How to guide our children about these occasions?
Actually, this is part of the non-religious days, commemorating the Earth Day or Environment Day or the tree, week of the tree, etc. So I'm inclined not to celebrate such days, but I understand those who celebrate it. So if it is something in the school and it has nothing to do with religion and they commemorate the Earth Day or something that is related to the environment, I believe that this is inshallah okay, but you explain it to them. Likewise, they have the Hijab Day, I think, that comes every single year. Again, if it's on a specific date, I personally do not like this because it falls under the category of Eid. Change it. Just make it once in February and once in January, and so that it would not fall under the category of Eid, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best.
Barakallahu feek, Sheikh Assim and Hakeem. And we are looking forward, inshallah, to having you again with us. We are quite honored and pleased that you have accepted this invitation to come give this presentation. And we do thank the audience for attending this event. And we also hope to see you again in the near future, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow you to benefit others of this talk and to continue to seek knowledge, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan once again. Wa barakallahu feekum. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.